Today, we're going to dig into a word you've probably said a bunch of times already, top. I know, it seems so simple, you don't even think about it. But believe me, hidden inside this one little word is a really fascinating story about how language actually works. So, let me ask you, how well do you really know this word? It's a fair question, right? But the answer, well, it's way more complex than you'd think. Stick with me because by the end of this, you're going to see this everyday word in a completely new light. Let's get into it. All right, first up, let's just appreciate how many different jobs this one little word can do. It's short, yeah, but it's like a Swiss Army knife of language, able to shift its meaning in some pretty surprising ways. At the most basic level, top has two main gigs. It can be a noun, naming a thing or a place, like the top of a mountain. But then it can also be a verb, an action word, like when you top a dessert. So let's break down each of these roles. Okay, let's start with top as a noun. And what's really wild is that even inside this one category, the word splits into these totally different, distinct meanings. First, you've got the most obvious one, the highest part of something. Think of the top of a building, or like in our example, the top of a table. It's a literal, physical thing, and it's probably the first definition that pops into your head. Simple enough. But then there's this. A top is also that spinning toy, right? Now think about it. There is zero connection here to height. It's a completely separate object that just happens to have the exact same name. And then there's a third meaning for the noun. A top is just a shirt. So right there, we've got three totally different nouns. A high point, a toy, and a piece of clothing, all from the same little four-letter word. All right, so let's switch gears and look at top as a verb. As an action word, it turns out to be just as much of a shapeshifter. So as a verb, top is also doing double duty. First, it can mean to cover something, like when you top your ice cream with sprinkles, but it can also mean to beat or surpass something, like when a movie's box office numbers top all the records. Two very different actions, one simple verb. And this table here, this really lays out the word's flexibility so well. Just look at how it adapts. It becomes tops, topped, and topping, shifting so easily between being a noun and a verb. It's a true grammatical chameleon. So you're probably wondering why. Why is this one little word so powerful? Is it just some random accident of how English evolved? Well, no. It turns out there's a huge clue, and honestly, it's the key to this whole thing. There it is. Right there. Top is on the basic English 850 list. This single sentence, this unlocks everything we've been talking about. Which, of course, brings us to the big question you're probably asking yourself right now. What on earth is the basic English list? And that leads us to our final section. This is where we zoom out from just this one word to understand the incredible system it was chosen to be a part of. A system built entirely on the power of being simple. So, basic English is a stripped-down version of the language that uses just 850 essential words. And here is the absolute key. These words weren't chosen just because they're common. They were chosen because they are versatile. They were handpicked because, like top, they can do a whole bunch of different jobs. The goal was to create a tool for clear, simple, international communication. The fact that top is so flexible isn't an accident. It's the entire reason it's on the list in the first place. And this quote just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. The genius here isn't about having a word for every single thing you can imagine. It's about efficiency. It's about using a small, powerful toolkit of flexible words that you can combine to say almost anything. So we'll end on this thought. We often think that a big, impressive vocabulary is the key to being a great communicator. But what if basic English shows us something different? What if the most powerful words aren't the big, complicated ones, but the small, simple, versatile ones? It's a pretty cool idea, all packed into that one simple word, top. Thanks for watching.